Hi, all, Ms. Sugo here. We are going to be looking at the triangle midsegment theorem. Now, I know that when you guys look at this, there might be some intimidation, some confusion, but that is totally normal. This does not look appealing, but good news is it's not so bad. Now, we have a diagram with a triangle where N is a midpoint of KL. So N is a midpoint and P is a midpoint. They're saying if angle PNL, so if angle PNL is equal to this right over here, and MKN right over here is equal to this, then what is the measurement of this angle right over here? So they gave you these two angles. And the thing to note is that these two angles are always going to be congruent. They're going to be congruent to each other. And let's look at the solution that they give us. So we know that since a midsegment is always parallel to the third side, corresponding angles are congruent. That means that the angles that they gave us are congruent to each other. So what they did is they plugged in the expressions 2x plus 61, which was angle PNL, equal to angle MKN, which was 97 minus 7x. And then from here, it's just algebra to solve. We take these, we reorder them so that we're adding the 7x to both sides. We're taking this and we're adding 7x to both sides. And then we are subtracting 61 from both sides. This should be our expression once we've added 7 to both sides and subtracted 61 from both sides. All that is left to do here is just divide both sides by 9 to get your value of 4. Now we're not finished because they ask us to find the value of PNL. So PNL was 2x plus 61. When we plug in x and then multiply, we get our answer, which is 69. So the only thing that we really need to remember here in order to do this problem successfully is that corresponding angles are congruent. Let's look at a new problem. In this problem, they tell us that R is the midpoint and S is a midpoint. If RS is 3x plus 2 and NQ is 18 minus x, what is the measure of RS? Now, what is the relationship between RS and NQ? Well, if we go back into our midsegment files, we know that RS is a midsegment. That means that 2 times RS is equal to NQ. So all they did was they multiplied 2 times RS. RS was 3x plus 2. So they multiplied 2 times 3x plus 2, and that is equal to NQ. And now when we distribute the 2 times 3x is 6x, 2 times 2 is 4. We get 6x plus 4 is equal to 18 minus x. All we're doing now is solving for x. So we're going to bring this x to the other side by adding it to both sides. And when we do that, we get 7x plus 4 is equal to 18. Now we're going to bring this 4 to this side, so we're going to subtract both sides by 4. And we're left with 7x minus 14. In order to complete our algebra, we are going to divide 7 by both sides to get 2. And that is our x, but that is not our rs. In order to find rs, we need to plug it in to rx plus 2. So if rs is equal to rx plus 2, we plug in the 2 where the x should be, and we get 3 times 2 plus 2 as rs. When we multiply 3 times 2, we get 6. When we add, we get 8. This is a matter of remembering the relationships between the mid-segment and the side. Okay? The one inside is half, meaning that this right here is 2 times this. Let's look at another problem. This one is angles. So when we're dealing with angles FEC and DBE, these angles right here, what do we know about these angles? They are congruent. So we just have to set these equal to each other, which is what we're going to do. We're going to set these equal to each other. When we plug in FEC and DBE, this is the expression that you guys should have, the equation you guys should have. Then when we add 5x to both sides, you should have 14x minus 3 is equal to 109. We're just adding 5 to both sides. We're doing algebra. And now from here, we are going to add 3 to both sides to get rid of this 3. And you should be left with 14x is equal to 112. Now the only thing left to do is to divide 14 by both sides to get 8. Now that we have x, we have to plug it into angle FEC. If FEC was 9x minus 3, and we know that x is equal to 8, all we have to do is plug in 8 for the x and solve for the angle. Okay. So remember, when you're dealing with the angles, they are congruent. When you're dealing with the mid-segments, 2 times this is going to equal this out here. And if you're having trouble, please look at the slide that we attach or Google mid-segment theorem. Okay, I want to do one more where we're talking about the mid-segment, and that is this one. We have a triangle. They give us WX, TV, and they want us to find the measure of WX. So what is the relationship? The relationship is that 2 times this is equal to this. So that's exactly what you need to write down in equation form. 2 times WX, WX was 9x minus 37, is equal to TV, which is just 41 minus 5x. And now you're just performing algebra to solve for x. We are going to distribute the 2. So 2 times 9x is 18x. 2 times negative 37 is negative 74. Then we are going to add 5x to both sides. When you add 5x to both sides, you should have 18 plus 5 is 23. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. You just should have this. And now we're going to add 74 to both sides. And when we do that, you should get 23x is equal to 115. All that is left to do is to divide 23 from both sides to get x equals 5. Now, remember, we are not done. We are looking for wx. So we need to take the x that we found, take the wx that they gave us, and just plug in the 5 where the x was. So we have 9 times 5 is 45. 45 minus 37 is 8. Okay, so there are just two relationships we're working with. One are the angles. When they ask you for angles, they are congruent. When they ask you for segments, this is the relationship that you are using. Okay, try these out on your own. If you need help, please come to office hour or hit us up on Instagram. Bye, guys.